Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had a nice coffee break, and now we'll commence with session 2 of our conference today. The title of this session is Supporting the Delivery of Renewable Heat, and our presenter is Fergus Sharkey. Fergus is Head of Business Support and Transport at the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, Ireland's national authority responsible for driving the transition to a sustainable energy future. A chartered engineer and experienced leader in the energy sector, Fergus has extensive experience across renewable energy, energy efficiency, large-scale capital projects also. In his current role, he leads programs that support businesses in transitioning to low-carbon energy, including initiatives focused on energy efficiency, renewable heat, solar PV and electric vehicle adoption. His team works with SMEs and large industries to deliver advisory services, training, project development support and grant funding, helping organisations reduce emissions and improve energy performance. And he will present today on the delivery of renewable heat in Ireland through business supports and the SSRH. So we'll call Fergus to the stage, and I think Kimberly, you'll have to go down with your bell and start shaking it loud to get people up. Could I ask everyone to move from the exhibition area up into the main room, please, and if you are staying in the exhibition area, just to keep the noise levels down as well. So thanks very much. We'll hand over to Fergus.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I think we're still morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fergus Sharkey. I'm the Head of Business Supports in SEAI. I need to give Sean a shorter bio for me because that's twice that's happened where there's just been way too much detail. I have been 9 years in the SEI, and I had a lot of my career in ESB before that. And I'm going to take you on a relatively quick tour of just a little bit about SEAI, a little bit about where we sit in the overall area of bioenergy, and a little bit about what me and my team do. And some of my team, Paula Lynch is speaking in a later panel, so I won't steal her thunder. And I know Sean Kinsella as well is here from the department, is going to talk about some updates to the scheme that they're currently considering and have approved, etc. So again, I won't steal his thunder either. I'll try and keep it at a high level. But I think it's a really good conference. Congratulations to Sean and Teresa and all the team in IrBEA. It's a really important sector. At our own energy show a couple of weeks ago, we were putting together various panel discussions and seminars, and we had one on the critical role of bioenergy in the energy transition. And I'm going to underpin that today, and apologies for people who've heard me say this before, but I think it's really important to kind of state the role of bioenergy today and into the future of our energy transition, not just in this room, but all over the place, and I'll talk a bit more about that. I think people will know who SEAI are. If you don't, we are the National Energy Authority, and we work across the full energy system, from homeowners to motorists to businesses, public bodies. So we're across all energy users and we're across all energy supply. And obviously our mission is to accelerate the energy transition and to drive Ireland's energy transition for the betterment of Ireland, for the betterment of our citizens in warmer homes, for the betterment of our public sector spending less energy on money, and for the betterment of our environment and our businesses and our competitiveness and so on. And we're really, really busy, and almost eye-wateringly busy. I probably stood up here, I think last October, and said we're really busy, and we've had another energy crisis in the last few weeks. They seem to come like buses. You don't get any energy crisis for a while, and then you get a few at once. So last year, these are kind of the big stats, and people will understand that a lot of our money goes on home energy, a lot of it goes on electric vehicles, and then the work I do with businesses is a smaller kind of portion of our spend, and I'll talk about spend and so on that we do at the minute. But if you think about 58,000 homes being retrofitted last year, like think how many that is per day, who are more comfortable, who have lower energy bills, who have addressed issues like that affect health, like damp and mold in their buildings and so on. It is really important work, and it spans kind of the environmental part of it, but it's about enhancing our country. It's about becoming a better country, housing people better, and creating healthier public buildings like hospitals and so on. I saw some of our colleagues are here from the HSE. So we're across the energy system. It's really, really busy. I think our budget this year, actually, I think it said there 645 million last year. I think our budget for this year is over 800 million. So the government, and Minister Dooley said it earlier, the government are asking us to do more. There's often a conception that the foot has been taken off the pedal a little bit in climate action. Certainly there's more investment going into it than ever before. So we're across the energy system, but obviously this conference is about bioenergy, it's about biomass. And where do we play in that space? We have a number of kind of positions in it, or a number of kind of functions within it. We're constantly providing policy advice across all areas, electricity, heat and transport. So we're kind of saying, this is where we're going, this is what you can do, this is the gap. We're using data to drive statistics and projections. So we're the National Energy Authority. We collect a huge amount of energy data on an annual basis, and we have key publications that show where we're at, where we're going, how we're doing towards carbon budgets, etc. We have a very important role as a biomass sustainability verification authority. Right now, that's only for a number of sites like Kildare Power, but as those thresholds in the Renewable Energy Directive drop, that will span into more businesses, particularly in industry. We have a role which is a single point of contact. So that's anybody who's developing renewable projects. We are meant to coordinate all of their, the information around permitting, consenting, grid applications, all is meant to be coordinated through a single point of contact. That's something we do. We have 1,000 sustainable energy communities across the length and breadth of the country, and we're advising them on their energy master plans for their communities. We're advising them on how to start up renewable energy projects, how to start up retrofitting initiatives in their area. And then we have a number of heat policy areas that were very central to delivery. The SSRH, which is a major policy for supporting renewable heat in the non-domestic sector. We have a huge area of emerging district heating support, which would be of significant relevance to the bioenergy sector. And Paula and her team have been supporting the Department of Agriculture in the biomethane grant that was issued over the last number of years, and all those projects are now constructed and entering into the kind of commissioning phases, and will shortly be delivering biomethane into the grid or into energy users. So it's not a major part of what we do, but it is a big part, and it's becoming bigger by the year. And then I just wanted to set out biomass in the context of our national targets. And sorry for putting up graphs. I'm an engineer, I think, in numbers. It's worth kind of looking at our national energy projections to see where we are and where we're going. You can see that our targets on the red tree are in red, so that's where we have to get to for an overall share of renewables. So that's obviously about 43% by 2030. To get there, we would have to do all of the measures in the climate action plan. That's the kind of navy dotted dashed line. So we could get there if we did everything in the climate action plan. However, what we are doing at the moment is existing measures, which is the WEM, with existing measures. It's the kind of mustard-coloured, yellow, orange, greeny kind of thing. So we are tracking upwards with our existing measures, but we have a gap to our national ambition. I hope that doesn't surprise anyone, but we are tracking off our national targets. This is across heat, electricity, and transport. And this is where, what are our key tools? And essentially, our key tools are demonstrated in this graph. This goes out to 2040, and it's our projection of the fuel mix of final energy use by 2040 to achieve the CAP ambition. And what you can broadly see here is at the top, renewables, including bioenergy, and at the bottom, electricity, growing as a share of our overall energy, final energy demand, and squeezing out oil and gas. So it's really important. Noel said it there, bioenergy is in a way the unsung hero of the energy transition to date. It's well over a third of our renewable energy today, bioenergy, even though a lot of it, outside of this room, I probably don't need to tell most people in this room, but outside of this room, it's very hard to get the conversation away from renewable electricity. And it's a very important part of our future. Everybody from the International Energy Agency to us will say that the future is significant electrification and bioenergy for everything that you can't, in a way. That's a simplification, because it's not as straightforward as that, and there's loads of other things. So that's where bioenergy sits within SCAI's activities and at a national level, and we are advising government about trajectories and policies and what to do. And I suppose I will just add one more thing, which is we are in another energy crisis. I'm sure in my career in SCAI there will be more. And we are in vocally saying that indigenous biomass is an alternative fuel to imported fossil fuels that we're not exploiting to the level we should be. So we're in actively for the sector saying this is a really important sector and we can do more from it and we do it very quickly. So I just to let you know that I am whatever influence I do have, I'm trying to use it to progress all sustainable energy solutions, but biomass is very much the center of that. So then that's the big picture. If we get down to what me and my team do, we support businesses of every shape and size along their energy journey, their own energy, their own personal energy transition. And it's a very rewarding job to see businesses future-proof themselves. There are businesses, and many of them, that we've supported in the last 10 years who have experienced no change in their energy costs recently because they've completely decoupled themselves from fossil fuels. That's extremely rewarding. That's really, really good for Ireland. And the more we can do of that, the better. So we support businesses across kind of a number of pillars. You know, we're building them up, giving them the information, training them through Energy Academy. We give free energy management training. We have a very successful energy audit scheme which gets a professional energy auditor into businesses. We are doing thousands of those a year, 2,000 of those last year. And we've completely transformed our business grants over the last number of years. It's been probably my mission or my, I've been annoying my team for a long time and yet they've stuck with me mostly. Trying to get this right because, you know, a number of years ago I didn't really feel we had the best business kind of grant offering. I was only talking to Ivan Spruill, who's up later, and we kind of kicked a lot of this discussion off about trying to change the model in how we were delivering grants because we could never scale. But we grouped the grants into two kind of pillars at the moment. We have a rapid approval, which is just a menu of measures, and anything on that menu now with a small amount of information, basically who you are as a business, who is your contractor, and some light technical detail about your investment. So for solar PV, that's just how many kilowatts are you putting on your roof. You will get an offer instantly. So this is rapid approval. It takes minutes to apply, and you get instant approval. That's been a significant game changer for us over the last number of years. They're the measures we have now. We'd like to add more measures, but it doesn't work for everything and can never work for everything, and some projects need to be looked at. They're generally more complex, bespoke, and bigger. So we have, you know, your typical percentage grants that we have to evaluate, and typically they kind of take 8 to 12 weeks for us to evaluate and issue an offer. What we're seeing is they are now smaller volume, but much higher value. You know, we used to do you do a lot of 8 to 12 weeks evaluating a grant that would be 20 grand or something. We don't do that anymore. We're at the other end of the scale where we're looking at significant investments in often grants in excess of €1 million are going out on a regular basis. That's the name of the grants, and in 2025, just to give you a sense of where the money flows, 94% of our approvals were in the rapid approval lane, and that was about 40% of our budget, and 6% of our approvals by volume, like the number of businesses, were in the tailored support, but that was about 60% of the budget. So you can see that it's working. It's been really, really effective for us, and we've kind of changed a lot of what we have there. So in the tailored support is the support scheme for renewable heat. I'm not going to talk about it in too much detail. We are making changes. We would like to change a lot more. It is a complex scheme to administer, and it's a complex scheme to be involved in. And a lot of that comes about because of its origin story, I guess. Our Exceed scheme, last week we published new guidelines on the Exceed scheme, and we've addressed some of the really key barriers in that. I just effectively say that's a $3 million grant scheme now with very, very little upfront kind of, if you wish, barriers to entry, and it's open now, and it's open for anything that saves energy and saves emissions. So but ideally bigger investments. And we've got the community grant, which has done a lot of heavy lifting. It's not the only business support. It's not a business support only. It supports homes as well. But it's the only one that I haven't, that I don't manage right now. So it's a little bit outside my sphere of influence. But it does around 250 businesses a year. It's quite important. So there's been loads of uptake. So we've transformed the business supports, particularly the grants, but also the kind of softer supports around training and so on. And we just have a lot of interest and we have a lot of demand. So you can see the growth in the number of businesses. Last year, I wanted to hit 5,000. I think I stood up in here in October and said I was nearly there, and I didn't. But anyway, got to about 4,900. This year, we're up 44% year on year for the first quarter in the volume of applications. So I hope and expect that we'll be in and around 6,000 or higher this year. And you can see that the value of support is also increasing. Now, it's not increasing at the same rate because generally speaking, these rapid approval grants were 5. I'll be well done. Generally speaking, these rapid approval grants are of a smaller nature. We're bringing in SMEs who are just making the sort of 3,000–4,000 euro investment in changing their pumps or putting in a proper BMS. That's exactly what we've been trying to do over the last number of years. So my last slide then is just to contextualize SSRH right now. So SSRH, the Biomass support scheme, it's a 15-year tariff. Any business that's done that, there's probably some in the room, it's almost a no-brainer. It's extremely attractive as an incentive. It gets more attractive as oil gets more expensive. So businesses have shown a huge appetite. You can see that we have more and more businesses investing in energy efficiency and renewables. Solar PV is our star performer. So we don't really have to sell solar PV. There's no barriers to uptake. And we should see, really we should see biomass seeing a big spike in demand, but it hasn't. The scheme is stagnating, it's declining in 2026, and it's the only scheme that I have that's in that position. So we're looking at options to enhance it. So what can we do? And we can increase the incentive, but it's very, very challenging to do because of the state aid constraints which we are within, but we can increase the incentive. It's not like we can just say, let's put it up and see how it goes. It's really, really difficult to provide an evidence base for that. We can expand to the ETS sector. Now, I see Dominic is there and he's going to talk. So Enterprise Ireland have been supporting biomass in the ETS sector, and we can also support it with grant funding, but we can't support it with the tariff, which would be a much more attractive and appropriate support. So we want to do that. We can and have done a lot of case studies. So anything that I've been in these rooms and people have said, can you do this, can you do this? I think we've done it all. We can do case studies, we can do targeted campaigns to address perceptions, and we will do that, and we're scoping it out at the moment. We can streamline the scheme administration. We've done a lot of that. We have more of that to do. It's a difficult scheme, as I said, to administer, and it's difficult for people on the other side because there's a lot of requirements around it. And we can help the supply chain deliver better projects, and we're going to do that through project management support and so on. But there is a major opportunity in large energy users, and I think that's where I see the growth opportunity in the next number of years. They have decarbonisation ambitions, they're able to manage the complexity of biomass projects, and they're being supported by Enterprise Ireland, by ourselves. So that is an area I think there should be a real focus on the sector. So I'll wrap up now. I don't know if Sean wants to allow people to ask me questions or anything like that. Yeah, I'm very happy to take questions, and I'm here for the full day, so people can come in and talk to me. So thank you very much for your attention.
So is there any questions for Fergus? There's one here at the front. Yeah. There's two. We'll just take two questions, and we'll have to move on quickly with our panel. So, Stephen here, just at the...
Fergal, Timmy Carey, Biomass. Firstly, thanks for a great presentation, and well done to yourself and the department and some of the gains. You've done some, I got one of those grants myself last year, and I think was approved in 2 days. One question I have, fully agree about the adoption of biomass. The reason there's a lot of companies on the cusp of wanting to move ahead, and what's slowing a lot of companies down is the revision of the greenhouse gas protocol at a global level. A lot of companies are going to have to report under Californian CSRD, and depending on how biogenic calcs are calculated, it potentially could put you in a scenario with negative calcs down the line. So a lot of companies are being advised to hold off. Even though we're ready to go ahead, there's great government subsidies and grants available, to be fair. Both yourselves, SEI, IDA, have listened to industry, and they've done a very good job. But, you know, can we get some really good, or do you have the calcs and the case studies from SEI from an Irish perspective that have the real in-depth scientific calcs that would help the people trying to get the boardroom approvals for this? Because it could drive a lot of projects across the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we did a perception piece last year where we went out to a lot of industry, and one of the things they said was, you know, it's sustainability credentials was one of the barriers or perceptions that are out there. Yeah, we can certainly do more. You know, we want to promote it. We want to promote where it fits into a sustainability strategy. I think when you see big multinationals doing it, as some of them have done and are doing, it's good. But like it's complex. Anything with bio in the title is complex, and you know, and I think that complexity brings uncertainty for users. So we can try and issue guidelines or something like that, but like again, we don't want to overstep. You know, if you wish, there's protocols out there for how to calculate this. So we could issue. It would be really good to have a case study saying this is how it's being considered by, you know, blue chip multinational, and how it's been accounted for, let's say, on a global scale. I think that would be really useful.
Okay, we have a final question here, but just before you ask the question, could I ask our panelists to make their way to the stage, and we'll be getting set up while this question is being addressed. So, Joe.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for your talk. I'm from Agriland. My name is Joe, so predictably, my question is going to be, what do you wish the agriculture community was more aware of when it came to grants available?
I think the agricultural community are very aware of what grants are available, has been my experience. So I'm probably going to get the statistic wrong, Paula. I think 70% of the projects that we're paying now are in the agriculture sector. Is it that much? 50%, sorry. So that's where the uptake has been. But of course, as individual energy users, they're relatively small energy users. So, you know, they're aware of it. They're much more kind of equipped to deal with fuel management. They have machinery, they have storage areas, etc. So it's been a key sector for us. So that's not really where the challenge is. I think the challenge is getting beyond that. I don't think we have any sort of real key barriers in the agricultural sector.
Thanks, Fergus. I'm sure you'll be around for a while and you'll be able to take any further questions. So thanks very much for your presentation. We'd like to also acknowledge your sponsorship of the event, and SEI has been a valued supporter of our conference for over a number of years, and we appreciate greatly that support. And I'd like to also acknowledge your continued openness and open engagement with IrBEA and myself and the association on policy support and SSRH items as they arise. So thank you very much.